apologies for the delay. So, we'll begin with the Jai Radha Madhava Bhajan, which you see on the board there. So, and afterwards we'll have a discussion on Bhagavad Gita as it is. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, please. Okay. So I would like to welcome everyone to today's Sunday program. So as every Sunday, except the last Sunday of every month, we will have discussion on Bhagavad Gita, and every last Sunday we had a 4-hour kirtan. Last weekend we had a 4-hour kirtan, so from this weekend we are back to our usual Bhagavad Gita discussion. So today we will be discussing from Bhagavad Gita, and the theme of today's discussion is going to be on Catur-māsa. So I would like to convey my gratitude to Shravan Krishna Prabhu for asking me to give a lecture today, and he wanted me to speak on this topic of Catur-māsa. So if any one of you haven't heard about it, don't worry, this lecture is for that. Okay, so we will start with a verse from Bhagavad Gita. If everyone can grab a copy of Bhagavad Gita, and then we get into the discussion. I don't think I'll be able to put the verse on the screen, but if everyone can get a copy, that would be nice. So today we'll be discussing from Bhagavad Gita as it is chapter 9, text number 19. Yeah, I think we got enough books for everyone. So it's Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, and text number 19. Has anyone did everyone get the right page? Okay, so we'll start with word to word first. Please repeat after me. Tapami. Oh wait, before we start, let's do the invocation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, doing text number 19. Please repeat after me. Tapami.
Tapami.
Aham. Aham. Varsham. Nigrahnami. Utsrijyami. Cha. Amritam. Cha. Eva. Mrityuhu. Cha. Sat. Asat. Cha. Aham. Arjuna. So we'll be doing one sentence, one line is Sanskrit. Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahnam yutsrajami cha. Amritam mrityuscha. Sadasachaham Arjuna. Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahnam yutsrajami cha. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Sadasachaham Arjuna. Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahnam mrityusrujami cha. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Sadasachaham Arjuna. Would anyone like to say?
Tapamyaham varsham.
Tapamyaham varsham.
Nigrahnam Utsrishami cha.
Nigrahyami srujami cha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Amritam chaiva mrityuscha.
Asajaham Arjuna.
Sasachaham Arjuna. Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahyam srujami cha. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Sasachaham Arjuna.
Tapamyaham varsham.
Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahyami srujami cha. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Sasachaham Arjuna. Tapamyaham varsham. Nigrahyami srujami cha. Amritam chaiva mrityuscha. Sasachaham Arjuna. Anyone else? Okay, so we will move on to word translations. Please repeat after me. Tapami.
Tapami.
Give heed.
Give heed.
Aham.
Aham.
I.
I.
Aham.
Aham.
I.
I.
Varsham.
Varsham.
Rain.
Rain.
Nigrahnami.
Nigrahnami.
Withhold.
Withhold.
Utsrajami.
Utsrajami.
Send forth.
Send forth.
Cha.
Cha.
And.
And.
Amritam.
Amritam.
Immortality.
Immortality.
Cha.
Cha.
Eva. And.
And.
Eva.
Eva.
Certainly.
Certainly.
Mrityu.
Mrityu.
Death.
Death.
Cha.
Cha.
And.
And.
Sat.
Sat.
Spirit.
Spirit.
Asat.
Asat.
Matter.
Matter.
Cha.
Cha.
And.
And.
Aham.
Aham.
I.
I.
Arjuna.
Arjuna.
O Arjuna.
O Arjuna.
Translation and purport by language is the Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Translation. O Arjuna, I give heed and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Please repeat after me. O Arjuna,
O Arjuna.
I give heed
I give heed.
and I withhold
And withhold.
and send forth the rain.
And send forth rain.
I am immortality
I am immortality.
and I am also death personified.
Both
Both spirit and matter
spirit and matter
are in me.
are in me.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna, by his different energies, diffuses heat and light through the agency of electricity and the sun. During the summer season, it is Krishna who checks rain from falling from the sky, and then during the rainy season, he gives unceasing torrents of rain. The energy which sustains us by prolonging the duration of our life is Krishna, and Krishna meets us at the endless death. By analyzing all these different energies of Krishna, one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction between matter and spirit, or in other words, he is both matter and spirit. In the advanced stage of Krishna consciousness, one therefore makes no such distinctions. He sees only Krishna in everything. Since Krishna is both matter and spirit, the gigantic universal form comprising all material manifestations is also Krishna, and his pastimes in Vrindavan, as two-handed Shyamasundara playing on a flute, are those of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Yanti Antasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurvamita Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Putri Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So once again, welcome everyone to today's Sunday feast program, and today's discussion on Bhagavad Gita as it is. So today's verse is from the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So you all know Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna, his dear friend as well as devotee, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra 5,000 years ago. And this conversation took place because Arjuna was in a perplexed situation. In a situation where he didn't know what to do, what not to do. He had to fight against his own family. And in such a perplexed situation on the battlefield, in order to in order to motivate Arjuna to do his prescribed duty, and not just that, but to use Arjuna as an instrument in order to impart this divine knowledge to the welfare of the human society, Krishna had spoken Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita was, although Arjuna was used as an instrument, it was not just for Arjuna, but is actually meant for us. In the Gita Mahatmya, by Shankaracharya, he gives a beautiful example. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandana partho vatsa sudhir bhokta dugdham gita mritam mahat. If we compare all the Upanishads are like the Vedic literatures, as a cow, and Krishna is compared to a cowherd boy. Krishna is actually a cowherd boy, but here Shankaracharya, one of the teachers in India, he's comparing all the Upanishads as cows and Krishna as a cowherd boy. And where is Arjuna here in the picture? He's a calf who's trying to drink that milk, the essence. Somebody is knocking the door here. So he's trying to drink that essence of all the Upanishads. And what is that essence of all that Upanishads that's coming out in the form of milk? That is Bhagavad Gita. So it's just like a cowherd boy who is trying to milk the essence of a cow, which is milk. But before it's milked out, it needs to be first fed to the calf. So here Arjuna is compared to be like a calf who is being fed first this essence of all the Upanishads, all the Vedic literatures, and then it is distributed. If somebody is coming from villages, they understand, like before the milk is taken out for others, first it is fed to the calf. Once the calf is satisfied, then the milk is distributed. Of course, let's not speak about the vegans, if somebody is vegans here. Yes, so that is the significance of Bhagavad Gita. And so Bhagavad Gita, then Krishna starts giving these instructions to motivate Arjuna to fight the battle. And then, the first instruction Krishna gives to Arjuna is, you're not this body, and you're an eternal spiritual soul. And all these material connections, they're all pertaining to this body. That soul is an eternal fragmental part of Krishna. It is never created nor destroyed. And as living souls, it is our duty to be engaged in Krishna's service, because we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. And our eternal constitutional position is to serve the whole. Just like if you have a big machine, there are different parts to the machine. The different parts, they facilitate the machine. And when all the parts, they work together, then the machine runs. So we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So our duty is to serve I think better you open the fire exit. Our duty is to serve the whole. So just like we have our body. Actually, the example I gave of the machine, it's not proper actually, but Bhagavatam gives another example. Just like we have the body, so we have different limbs in our body. But if we want to satisfy different limbs of the body, it isn't possible just by feeding that part of the body. If you want to satisfy your hand, just by giving food to your hand won't be satisfied. Or just if you want better vision, you cannot feed your eyes with food. But if you want your whole body to be nourished, what you do is you supply food to the stomach. And when you supply the food to the stomach, and the stomach, it is the duty of the stomach to distribute the food accordingly and nourish the body. And another example Bhagavatam gives is like a tree. If you are a farmer or if you are into planting, so if you want to nourish a tree, if you want better fruits or flowers or better leaves and twigs of a tree, just by watering different parts of the tree, you won't satisfy the tree. All you need to do is water the root. You water the root, the whole tree is nourished, you give enough fruits, vegetables, flowers, etc. So similarly, we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. If we want to satisfy ourselves, we will never be satisfied. It's just like feeding food to the limb of the body or watering a part of the tree. But if you want to be satisfied yourself, and if you want to satisfy the whole society and the whole cosmos, the whole creation, you try to water the root, you try to supply food to the stomach. But just by doing that, you're satisfying everyone. So, as parts and parcels of Krishna, Krishna says in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Mamai mantra jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. All these living entities, they're all my parts and parcels, like the different limbs of the body or the different parts of the tree. And what are they doing? Manashrestani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. They are struggling with the six senses, which includes the mind, and they are trying to adjust circumstances in this material world to make life more comfortable. But if they leave that business and try to satisfy Krishna, who is the source of everything, they'll be satisfied and the whole society will be satisfied. So here we are in the 9th chapter. So this is the whole essence of Bhagavad Gita. The whole essence of Bhagavad Gita is to be surrendered to Krishna. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. To give up everything and to be engaged in Krishna's service. That's the beginning of a blissful life. So here, actually I said that the theme of today's lecture is about Catur-māsa. So we'll be getting there. So here we are in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna says as the most confidential knowledge. So here, in this same 9th chapter, Krishna imparts very confidential knowledge, like this whole material manifestation, it is under my control. So here, Krishna is saying that I send forth rain and I even send forth sunshine. So right now, the summer season is going on. Some parts of the country is dry and some parts of the country is wet. And in some parts of the world, it's monsoon, and some other parts it's winter, some parts is summer. So who is managing all these things? Different seasons, different places, different, it looks like the nature is working perfectly, as if someone is personally supervising it. Who is that person? Nobody knows. Some people think like it's happening by itself, or some say that it's just a phenomenon, the chemicals are reacting in such a way and it's producing this thing. They're in certain parts, because the sun is here, it is winter here, it is summer there, it's because of the, it's the way the nature is running. But who is that person who is running that nature? Nobody knows, or even if they do, they don't want to accept it. But here, that's the most confidential knowledge, that who is behind everything. Here Krishna says in this chapter that I am that person who is supervising. Under my superintendence, this nature is working and is producing all moving and non-moving things. So here he is. That's the most confidential secret. And some people do accept it and they are called devotees. And some people who do not accept it, they are called not devotees. They are demons actually, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna is just giving some examples of how he is supervising the natural phenomena that's going on in the nature. Here in this verse, Krishna says, I give heat, I withhold and send forth the rain, I am immortality, and I am also death personified. And I am both spirit and matter. So, now you understand, that's the most confidential knowledge. Everything is happening by Krishna's superintendence. Elsewhere in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the living entities persist on food grains. Where do the food grains come from? The food grains come from rains. And where do the rain comes from? Rain comes from the performance of sacrifices. And what is the sacrifice? That's our devotional service to Krishna. When we do proper devotional service, then Krishna will be satisfied, and Krishna sends forth the rains by which we can grow food grains. So that process is called yajna. And right now we are performing this Sankirtan yajna. The yajna in this age is Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So as we are discussing about rains, right now in UK it's summer season. However, in some part of the world, like in India, it's a monsoon season. So monsoon season means is the time of rains. So there are, according to Indian astrology, not exactly astrology, but it's like the seasonal, the change of seasons. Here we have spring, summer, autumn, and then winter, and then back to spring again. In India, they have you got spring, summer, and then you come monsoon, and then winter, and then back to spring. So this is the time of monsoon in India, and this monsoon goes on for 4 months, beginning from I think few days back when we had a full moon day. So this 4 months is called Catur-māsa. Catur means 4 and Mas means month. 4 months. The significance is like this is a monsoon season. So what happens is a lot of devotees who travel and preach Krishna consciousness. So because in the earlier days there were no sophisticated means of transport, if devotees have to preach, they used to walk from village to village and then go to a particular village, stay there, preach Krishna consciousness, and then they move on to another village. In this way they used to go different villages and preach. However, it becomes very difficult to preach when there is monsoon going on because the roads are always muddy. You can't just carry an umbrella and carry all your stuff and just walk from village to village. It's not practically possible. So, saintly persons, what do? Is they take a break during these 4 months from their excessive travels, and they just remain situated in one place and focus on their own Krishna consciousness. Some people say, I just read some posts in social media. Some devotees, they say like, these saintly persons, they go to different people, they approach different householders and everything, and they get all these material associations. So during these 4 months, the saintly people, they do their own Krishna consciousness and they purify themselves from all these false associations. I don't know how much that is true or not. It's like, I personally don't agree because the saintly persons, they themselves are like pilgrimages. So wherever they go, they make that place a pilgrimage and holy place. So, and they won't be affected by any false association. But if you go to social media, you probably see all sorts of things. So yeah. So when these saintly people, they are situated in one place for 4 months, they usually take up some austerities so that it's not like just because they take some break, that doesn't mean like, finish, let's just relax, eat, sleep and marry. No, that's not the fact. When they're situated in one place, they take up some austerities and they increase their Krishna consciousness, they increase their own sadhana, they increase whatever they're doing. If they're chanting, they chant more. If they are reading, they read more. In this way, they engage in devotional service more, because the time which they used to spend in traveling, they utilize that same time for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So during these 4 months, each month they usually take a specific austerity. That's why it's also called Catur-māsa Vrata. Vrata means austerity. So in the first month, they abstain themselves, or they renounce eating green leafy vegetables. Again, there are back and forth discussions on why they avoid green leafy vegetables, and some say like it's like during these seasons the green leafy vegetables grow so much that it's like sense gratification to take green leafy vegetables, so that distracts them from the performance of Krishna consciousness. So they stop taking green leafy vegetables. Some say like, the green leafy vegetables won't grow, not won't grow, but it grows, but a lot of insects do eat them, and probably there is a chance like you might eat insects, so they avoid green leafy. So there are all sorts of different things. But anyway, at the end of the day, you take up an austerity. Not eating something is an austerity to control the senses. And in the second month, they refrain themselves from taking yogurt. And the third month, they refrain themselves from taking milk. And the fourth month, you refrain yourself from taking urad dal. So I don't know, Western body devotees is like how much we take urad dal, but in India, especially in South India, they take urad dal mostly on everyday basis. So I too heard a lot of devotees saying like the first 3 months of Catur-māsa is probably possible, but the last one cannot. We cannot refrain ourselves from eating idlis and dosas. So it's like preventing yourself from indulging in sense gratification and focusing more on your spiritual advancement. So devotees in Krishna consciousness take up Catur-māsa as well. So we all want to advance in our Krishna consciousness, So if there is any opportunity for us to advance, we can grab that opportunity, because at the end of the day, it's like we want to advance our spiritual life. So these are all different opportunities for us to advance in our spiritual life. And there are so many benefits as well in following Catur-māsa. I came across an article in the internet published by ISKCON, I don't know which one, Dwarka. So they say the benefits of taking Catur-māsa. This is from Padma Purana. Of course, not everything, not all the benefits are actually necessary for our Krishna consciousness, but some are very significant. You can just hear it; it's really interesting. So here this is probably very inspiring for us if somebody is into cleaning. So a person who is doing temple cleaning will get enjoyment for 7 birds. So if you do any temple cleaning in these 4 months, it is said that the benefit you would get is like enjoyment for 7 birds. If you are interested to take 7 birds, better do temple cleaning properly. Anyway, there are other things as well. So those who bathe the Lord with milk, curd, ghee, honey and sugar become prosperous in the world and go to heaven and get enjoyment like Indra. Anyone interested? Can do so. A person who donates 28 or 108 earthen pots filled with tila, means sesame, to a qualified brahmana becomes free from all sins done by body, words and mind. If anyone has got earthen pots, 28 earthen pots, and enough sesame seeds, better do that. And anyone who sings for Lord Vishnu in this Catur-māsa becomes a Gandharva in his next life.
Who become?
Gandharva, these are like the celestial singers. And one who circumambulates the temple goes to the abode of Krishna sitting in a swan plane. This is probably something we can do, circumambulating the temple. You can go around and even cover the Gurudwara if you can.
Parikram.
Yeah, parikrama.
Become saints in that next
We can do it Gurudwara.
Right, so next one. A person who renounces jaggery will get a son or grandson. That's interesting. And the one who does not observe this vrata is a fool and is like a dead person even though he's alive. That's strong. Okay, so these are like the kind of benefits. Actually, this is for us devotees. This is not something which is very motivating, but this is part of the Varnashrama culture where people are gradually given a facility to gradually advance in their life to self-realization. So it's like if it is for a lame person who is not following Krishna consciousness, these things are very important because they accumulate, they give enough sukriti for that person to get to a stage where he can start his Krishna consciousness. But for us devotees, we are already dedicated our lives, so most of the benefits which we see here may not be that, motivating. So, but at the end of the day, we can focus on improving our chanting and reading during this month. I'm trying to be conscious of time as well because I've got a few more things to cover. So, what should we do in Catur-māsa? This is something which we can all follow, especially devotees. Get up before sunrise and take bath. Chant early in the morning before sunrise. May not be possible in Newcastle if the sun rises at 4:30. And if you want to do all your rounds before the sunrise, you might probably have to get up at 2 o'clock maybe. Chant more number of rounds than regular days, something possible. Follow celibacy, brahmacharya for 4 months. Give donation to the temple as per your capacity. Our temple does require a lot of donations. So if you can donate, you're welcome. And read prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam like Gajendra Moksha Leela, prayers of Queen Kunti or Gopi Geet. Read and meditate on Bala Leela, which is like Krishna as a child, the pastimes of Krishna's childhood pastimes of Krishna.
Gopal.
Yes, Gopal. From Krishna book, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And the 8 Ekadashis following these 4 months should be followed strictly. So anyone who is not following the Ekadashis, at least make an effort this month that you strive to follow the Ekadashi. And one should worship Tulsi Maharani and do circumambulation to Tulsi Maharani. One should offer Tulsi leaves to the Lordship. One should engage himself to Vaishnava Seva, invite them for prasad, chant with them and do other spiritual activities with them. Probably we need more house programs during these 4 months. And take target to at least read one book of Srila Prabhupada in this Catur-māsa. Read Vaishnava bhajans with meaning. One must visit a pilgrimage. Anyone traveling to India? Are you? Oh, great.
I'm going to get married.
Oh, you're going to get married?
In India?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations. So, try to visit one of the holy places. Go to Vrindavan if you can.
It's quite a hike from Mumbai, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Get there sometime.
Make an effort.
I mean, the temple is also a pilgrimage.
Yes. That's
Ask
a
devotees to come regularly.
Okay, let's move on. Taking responsible service to help and promote this Krishna consciousness movement. So we got every Saturday Harinam organized by Dhananjay Prabhu and Saraswati Mataji. So if you want to help and promote Krishna consciousness movement, here's an opportunity for you. You can join the Harinam and you can promote Krishna consciousness. Daily praying and thank Krishna before going to sleep. Something which you can do. Okay, so those are the do's and there are the do nots as well. So do not break the 4 regulative principles, which is no meat eating, no gambling, all of the devotees who know, no intoxication and no illicit sex. Do not criticize devotees. And if you want to be even more serious, do not sleep on the bed, but sleep on the floor with proper bedding. This is for the this is for the hardcore Krishna bhaktas. So, and one should avoid excessive sleep. And I don't actually understand this last one. Few auspicious activities denied in Catur-māsa for ex-wedding ceremonies, buying land, etc. Not to discourage you, but yes. Anyway, these are the do's and do-nots and the benefits of Catur-māsa.
So, Prabhu, in India for 4 months during Catur-māsa, no weddings happen.
I don't know, Mataji.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen? Okay.
Yeah.
No, most of the time it rarely happens, and the biggest day for the weddings is Devurthani Ekadashi.
Right,
It's like everyone gets their marriage on that day.
right. Thanks. Something new I learned.
Yeah.
Where is that list from?
this is from actually there's an article by ISKCON Dwaraka in Delhi. So this is a place called Dwaraka in Delhi. It's like a suburb. So they have published this article. All you need to know about Catur-māsa. So that's what I saw. So yes. So another important thing about Catur-māsa is like just a few days back we had the Shayana Ekadashi. The significance of Shayana Ekadashi is like Shayana means to rest. So this is the Ekadashi when Lord Vishnu, he goes to rest. And then during the month of Kartik, which is the fourth month of the Catur-māsa, so there comes the Uttana Ekadashi. That's the Ekadashi when the Lord wakes up from his divine sleep. So this sleep is not an ordinary sleep, the sleep of in the mode of ignorance. So because the Lord is asleep, devotees take advantage of this time to offer more prayers to the Lord and to be more serious. Okay, so that's the benefits, do's and do nots during the Catur-māsa. So even in the history, we see Catur-māsa being followed. For example, in the Ramayana, it comes where when Lord Ram, he kills Vali, who is the brother of Sugriva. So Vali and Sugriva, they both were brothers, and then, due to some misunderstanding, between the two brothers, Vali had vowed to kill his own brother Sugriva, and then Sugriva took shelter of Lord Ram, and then Lord Ram finally managed to kill Vali. And after he killed Vali, he established Sugriva, who is the chief of the monkeys, as the king of that kingdom called Kishkinda. So, and this is like a deal or a kind of like an agreement between Lord Ram and Sugriva that, Sugriva needed help in the sense like because Vali was attacking him. So he wanted help of Lord Ram to kill Vali so that he, not exactly kill but to protect him from, his brother, but the only solution was to kill him. And in return, Sugriva promised to Lord Ram that he would help in finding out Sita. So after Vali was killed, what happened was, Sugriva was supposed to be helping Lord Ram in finding Sita, but there was a gap between these two incidents. Vali being killed and Sugriva agreeing to help because the Catur-māsa had started at that time, right after the death of Vali. So at that time, Lord Ram and Lakshman, who were renounced, they were in 3 bards. They accepted the renounced life. So they undertook, the Catur-māsa, and they waited until the Catur-māsa finished so that they could approach Vali again for help. But it so happened, unfortunately, that Sugriva was so much engrossed in sense gratification because after a long time he got his kingdom back. So he even forgot the promise that he would help, Lord Ram in searching for Sita. Then the whole pastime happens later on. That Lakshman goes, and then, and then Sugriva agrees again, and then the whole search for Sita starts. So there is a mention of Catur-māsa in Ramayana as well. And most importantly for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Chaitanya, about Catur-māsa comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. So during Lord Chaitanya's, he spent most of his time, about 18 years, in Jagannath Puri. Actually, first 24 years was his Grihastha life, and after that he traveled for 6 years, and then the later 18 months he spent in Puri, for Jagannath Puri, and the 6 years of his travel, so he visited South India, and also after South India he went to Vrindavan as well. But when Lord Chaitanya was traveling to South India, he reached Sri Rangam. Has anyone been to Sri Rangam? No? Okay, so that's like the prominent holy places for Sri Vaishnavas. Like Vrindavan is like a prominent holy place for our Gaudiya Vaishnavas. For our brothers, Sri Vaishnavas, Sri Rangam is like their capital city. It's like the most important holy places for them, where you have the deity of Lord Vishnu laying down. So when Lord Chaitanya reached Srirangam, it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's called as Rangakshetra. Then the Catur-māsa had started. So when Lord Chaitanya visited Srirangam, so which is on the bank of Kaveri, river Kaveri. So Lord Chaitanya took his bath in the holy river, this is like the process of entering a holy place. Whenever you visit a holy place, the first thing you do is you go to the holy river, you take a dip in the river, and then you go for the darshan of the Lord. So whenever this is said also in I think Nectar of Devotion, as well as in Krishna book as well. Prabhupada says, whenever we visit a holy place, first thing we do is we take a dip in the holy river. So Lord Chaitanya, he took a dip in the holy river, and he went for the darshan of the Lord. And when Lord Chaitanya went for the darshan of the Lord, as soon as he saw the Lord, he was ecstatic, he was chanting, he was showing all the ecstatic symptoms of a pure devotee. He was crying, tears were flowing from his eyes, his hands, the hair on his hands was standing on end, his voice was choking, he was just singing and dancing, and he was mad, he was completely mad, and whoever saw him, they were also mad, and they just joined this Sankirtan with Lord Chaitanya. He fell in front of the deity of the Lord, and then he woke up, he danced again. So all the people who were all seeing Lord Chaitanya, they were just like amused, they haven't seen anything like this before. It's like, what's going on? It's like, and people, in some corner of their heart, they thought this coming, is he Krishna? Is he Krishna? And amongst all these people, there was one person whose name was Venkatapata. And he could immediately understand, like, this person who is completely mad in love for Krishna is not an ordinary person. So he somehow managed to go near Lord Chaitanya, and he started dancing as well in ecstatic love. And at the end of the dance, after, this was like completely on a transcendental platform, but when Lord Chaitanya came back to his senses, then he realized that Venkatapata was also dancing with him. Then Venkatapata, he invited Lord Chaitanya to stay in his house for the next 4 months, because the Catur-māsa has just started, and this is not an appropriate time for a sannyasi to travel. So for 4 months of Catur-māsa, Lord Chaitanya spent in Srirangam, in the house of Venkatapata. So Lord Chaitanya himself exemplified, how to observe, the Catur-māsa. So every day Lord Chaitanya, he would go take a dip in the holy river and go for the darshan of the Lord, and again dance in ecstatic love. And then during the day, he would have discussions with Venkatapata about, spiritual topics. And one of the prominent discussions which he had with Venkatapata was, who is supreme? Narayana is supreme or Krishna is supreme? And also, why is Lakshmi so much desperate to enter Vrindavan? So we won't go into all that discussion, because this discussion is quite deep, and probably if we start that discussion, we won't be able to end the lecture on time. So here I'm going to go into another very important discussion, because here another personality is coming into the picture, and whose disappearance day is tomorrow. Does anyone know who is someone's disappearance day is tomorrow? No? Okay, so tomorrow is the disappearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami is the son of Venkatapata. So I thought I'll just touch on Gopal Bhatta Goswami as well. So the 4 months of Catur-māsa, which Lord Chaitanya spent in Srirangam, at Venkatapata's house, the son of Venkatapata is Gopal Bhatta. And Gopal Bhatta, he was like about 8-year-old when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited their house. So, and he used to witness all these discussions and everything which was going on. For those of you who do not know Gopal Bhatta Goswami, so we have this picture there. You see 6 personalities. So one among them is Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are like the authorities in our disciplic succession. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he was 8-year-old when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited their house, and his service was to serve prasadam to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also after the Lord takes, he would take the remnants of that prasadam. Actually, there is a lot to be covered, but I'm just being a bit conscious of time as well. But and then Gopal Bhatta Goswami, in that way, he at a very young age had developed Krishna consciousness. He was fortunate enough to be taken birth in such a pious family as Venkata Bhatta, but on top of it, he even got the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at a very young age. And even today, the descendants of Venkata Bhatta are still there. So, their descendants and their family members, they are still around. And, sometimes when our ISKCON devotees, they visit, they do come and they share, they give like a talk, as a responsibility from their family, because their descendants have posted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in their house. And in Sri Rangam, we see that footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are still there in Sri Rangam, if anyone is visiting. And yes, so I'll just touch a little bit on Gopal Bhatta Goswami and then we'll conclude. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, was Gopal Bhatta at that time. So he was serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was taking the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it was said like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would call him and make him sit on his lap and embrace him. Just like we do with small children. Like Radhya is on the lap of her father now, embracing her father. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would let Gopal Bhatta, who was a small boy at that time, sit on his lap and embrace. And the time came where the 4 months of Catur-māsa finished, and it was the time of Lord Chaitanya to carry on his travel. So it was very, very hard for Venkata Bhatta, to miss the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They have spent 4 months together, so it was like he couldn't bear that separation. It was said like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was leaving out from the village, he was standing at the end corner of the village, waiting and looking at the Lord until the Lord disappeared from his vision. And as soon as the Lord disappeared from his vision, he just lost his consciousness. He just fainted. So this should be the attitude, that us, when we lose the association of devotees. So in his childhood, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he wanted to join Lord Chaitanya at a very young age, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, no, don't join now. You serve your parents first. And when your parents are satisfied, at that time, you come to Vrindavan. So it so happened that at one point when the parents became very old, so both, as far as I remember, they sat in front of the deity of the Lord, and both the husband and wife, they left their body together. And then once they left their body, Gopal Bhatta Goswami was under the guidance of his uncle, who is Prabhupada Saraswati. Prabhupada Saraswati is also famous for his literature called Chaitanya Chandramrita. He wrote Chaitanya Chandramrita. So he taught all the knowledge to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. He taught in Sanskrit how to read Vedic literatures and all the etiquettes and things like that. So once he learned everything, then Gopal Bhatta was given a permission to go to Vrindavan. But in the meantime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after completing his South India tour, he went to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu had already sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami there to rediscover all the places of Vrindavan. But Mahaprabhu had also given, indication that a boy might come named Gopal Bhatta, so you look after him when he comes. So when the time came where Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he went to Vrindavan, so Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, they already knew that Gopal Bhatta was about to come. So as soon as he came, they received him, but at the same time, they were about to send a messenger to Lord Chaitanya that they wanted to, in those days there was no email or mobile phone or fax or letter or anything like that. So if you want to send there may be letters maybe, yeah. So if you want to send information from one place to another, if somebody is going to that place, you better tell him, and then he goes and conveys your message to that person. So at that time, one devotee was planning to travel to Jagannath Puri. So Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, they gave him some information, and they also passed the information that Gopal Bhatta had arrived in Vrindavan. So when this messenger met Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri and he conveyed this message, Mahaprabhu was like so happy that finally Gopal Bhatta Goswami had arrived in Vrindavan. There are many pastimes which we can discuss, but we do not have time. One of the deities Gopal Bhatta Goswami had established in Vrindavan is Radha Raman, which is a very small deity of Krishna with beautiful eyes. So that's like manifestation. He had 12 Saligram Shilas, and out of his 12, one Saligram Shila just manifested like a miracle into a deity because he had this long cherished desire to worship Krishna. He was worshipping Krishna in the form of Saligram, but he had this desire to worship Lord Krishna as he is as a cowherd boy. So, Krishna just appeared. And that deity is still being worshipped, I think in Jaipur, Radharaman. Or no, I think in Vrindavan is yeah, Radharaman. Yeah, Radharaman is in Vrindavan, yeah. So, yes, so I'll probably stop here. So, if there are any questions, reflections or comments, they are welcome. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Satsanga Prabhu.
See, the speaking mass, so it's better term to use ma, because mass, many people, you don't know the carry same thing, but many people, those who are not very good, they understand it in non-veg.
Okay, I understand what you mean. Yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I understood. Okay, so anything
Yes, you're talking about the incidents of Catur-māsa. Also in the Bhagavatam, you have the instance of Narada Muni, who looked after the Bhaktivedantas, these sages who stayed in the house of his mother for 4 months.
Yes.
And because of their association, getting the remnants of food, just like Gopal Bhatta,
Yes.
he became very pure and became a pure devotee after that.
Yes.
So it's in the Bhagavatam. I thought it was an interesting story.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Yes, that's also that takes place during the Catur-māsa, where the Bhaktivedantas who travel village to village as we were discussing. So they stopped at a village, and and this is also an opportunity for devotees to go and personally serve these great souls and take their mercy. So Narada Muni, in his previous life as a small boy, so he got this opportunity of serving the Bhaktivedantas or the great souls, and especially he got the opportunity to take the remnants of them, like even how Gopal Bhatta got the opportunity to take the remnants of Lord Chaitanya. So these remnants of pure devotees are very powerful. They can transform their lives. So yes, thanks for sharing, Prabhu. Yeah. And anything else?
Just to add,
Yes, Prabhu.
so I think it's in Surya Siddhanta or somewhere that the 12 months of earthly planet is equal to 1 day of
Yes.
demigods. So during these 4 months, Catur-māsa, that is the Brahma Muhurta time for the demigods.
Right, I see.
So what happens is, since they are in the mode of goodness and they are doing their rituals or they are doing this devotional service, so that kind of effect is still there on this earthly planet also. So that's why it's said that the mode of goodness would be more prevalent because it's the Brahma Muhurta time for
The demigods. Wow, that's interesting.
and so what happens is that 4 months, as you mentioned, that Vishnu is in the Yoga Nidra, and that concludes with Catur-māsa, and that's where all the demigods go to the Kshirasagara and they recite the Purusha Suktam. So that's when the darshan for demigods happens with Lord Vishnu. So that's why even these 4 months become auspicious with respect to spiritual activities and progression.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Saxena Prabhu, we got one more.
Once Bhagwan went to the street Nidra, he handed over his duty temporarily for about 4 months to Shiva, who is the biggest devotee of Lord Krishna,
Is it?
to carry on the devotee. In practical thing, if you see the Bhagirisi, say Bhagirisi, he brought the Ganga, river Ganges, from there, and it's on the
Yes.
Shiva's temple, and that's how it's there.
Right.
So that part of the India is
Yeah.
more prosperous and would remain
I
more
see.
prosperous and would, okay?
Yeah. No, I didn't hear that part actually, but thanks for sharing, Prabhu. And also I wanted to actually, if there are any more questions or reflections, please attend before I conclude. Anything more? Anyone would like to share anything? If not, I'll make one last point, which is like these 4 months are also very auspicious because most of the major festivals fall during these 4 months. Can someone, or maybe I'll just open it up, can you all share one of the festivals? Balaram Jayanti, Janmashtami, Govardhan Puja, Radhastami, Radhakund, appearance day of Radhakund, Diwali, yeah. Anything else?
Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, yes, of course.
Srila Prabhupada Vyasa Puja, that can also be, and Govardhan Puja. So yeah, so a lot of festivals, they come, major festivals, they come during these 4 months. So the whole motivation for today's talk is to encourage devotees, to take advantage of these 4 months which have just begun. If possible, try to increase your rounds, do more sadhana, do more readings, and if you can't, and there are austerities like refrain from green leafy vegetables or yogurt or milk and urad dal, but if you cannot do anything, chant more, or if you cannot follow all these austerities for 4 months, at least for the last month you try to follow, which is the month of Kartika, Damodar, which is like the most important amongst all the 4 months. So we at least take that 1 month very seriously, and devotees, they perform many austerities. Okay, so I'll end my talk here. Thank you very much. Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Catur-māsa ki jai.
Please pray for Vasuśrestha Dāsa.
Jai.